Hello and welcome to another Skaredcast Battle Report. Today, a competitive 40k game, 2,000 points, Necrons versus the ancient menace of the Drukhari. Because the Necrons are not an ancient menace, they're a pest that must be eradicated. Let's begin!
The Dark King.
Hello and welcome to another Battle Report. Today we are playing Servo Skulls. Why did John have to pick football? I don't know. John randomly picked football, or he totally picked it on purpose. But we're playing football on layout number 3 from the Games Workshop side. So that's Mission K for anybody who's paying attention. It is a competitive, by popular demand, a competitive game. So we've got competitive terrain, and then we've got competitive lists, and we're going to play the most non-competitive mission, which can be really fun. So we're going to do that. Let's go over the army list and then take a look at deployment and all that good stuff. And here we have 2,000 points of Drukhari. That's right, double Void Raven Bomber. That's literally the point of this list. So we've got Lilith and 2 Archons. We have a unit of Incubi and a Court of the Archon. We have 10 Witches, 2 units of Mandrakes, 2 units of 10 Cabalite Warriors with all the gubbins. We do have a Beast Pack Master with his Beast Pack, one of the best units in the Drukhari book. Rounding it out, we do have 4 Venoms with double Splinter Cannons, 2 units of Scourge, 1 equipped with 4 Dark Lances, and 1 equipped with 4 Haywire Blasters. A Kronos with the Butt Gun upgrade, 2 Void Raven Bombers with missiles and D-sides, not the Lances, the D-sides, and a Raider. And there you have it. A little bit different than my other list, but I'm having a ton of fun with this list concept. Let's take a look at what filth John brought today. Now, this video is brought to you by The Red Dragon. Check the link down below. Get yourself some mats, terrain, other stuff, and use the code SCARDCAST to get a discount. So check the link in the description below to order some cool Warhammer stuff.
And we bought the box of crayons. Woo! We brought 6 Ctan. I have been having so much fun with this list, and I hope you're ready. Ready for this description? We have a Void Dragon, we have a Deceiver, we have a Nightbringer, we have a red crayon, a purple crayon, and a blue crayon. Transcendent Ctan, for those who prefer to call them by their name. We have Imhotep the Stormlord, who's just going to be hanging out. We have Trazyn the Infinite, because he is the Mac Daddy. And we've got 5 Lichguard and 1 Lonely Destroyer. And that's it. That's 1995. No enhancements, just crayons.
Also, shout out to Wayland Yutani. Thank you so much for all the buildings and for the official WTC terrain. Of course, you want a set of that. Check the link down below too. Here we are after deployment. Of course, the Ctan just put Ctan down. Ctan, Storm Lord, Destroyer, Lichguard, Ctan. We've got hidden supplies in this mission, so it's servo skulls and hidden supplies. So these are basically footballs which we can move. And our deployment, so you can see the mission, is that one. Of course, that's the score tracker, and John is the defender. He went for fixed objectives, deploy Talbot homers, and engage on all fronts. I went for tactical. I put Mandrakes, Beastmaster on the flank, mainly to kind of pressure the home objective. I know it doesn't count for primary, but a lot of the squishy stuff is back there. I know you could redeploy it, but beasts were actually really good at killing stuff that aren't Ctan. So I'm looking forward to just making John deal with them. I've got the Court, the Archon, and 5 Cabalites with guns in there. I've got 5 Incubi with no Archon here. I've got 5 Cabalites with no special weapons in that Venom. The Kronos on that objective. Lilith and her witches back here. Both units of Scourge back here. And another Archon with another 5 Cabalites with guns there. And 5 more Mandrakes back here. Basically zoning out the 3-inch deep strike in my back corner here. Because you can teleport and you can do a whole bunch of stuff, being Hypercrypt Necrons. Now, the Deceiver has a cool rule. Before the game starts, the Deceiver can potentially redeploy 3 units and put them either in reserve or redeploy them as per the mission rules.
It was a deception. Okay, so since I get to move 3 units, I took the red crayon from behind this building and I put it over here. I took the blue crayon from behind this building and put it over here. And then the destroyer is
Went
going
back into
to
reserve.
come in at a later date.
Good, so you're putting a little bit stronger on that flank, putting a little stronger on that flank. The center's got the Deceiver and the Void Dragon, so pretty strong center anyway. And it's not like you're in a hypercrypt and you can teleport anywhere you want. So with that, we're ready, posed, and battle will begin. And with that, roll to go first. I rolled a 5.
Ooh.
And it's Drukhari turn numero uno. Not bad for this mission. However, that means I have to get close to the Ctan. I do have one scout move to make, and then we'll begin. Mission begins. I got cleanse and bring it down. We each get a command point, and we have 0 primary, secondary, and then of course our battle ready points. I'm red because I'm the attacker, and John is green because he is technically the defender.
He's a Necron.
He is a Necron. He's green. Let's begin the movement phase and take a quick overview of the table. A lot of you have been asking to try and explain a little bit more, and you don't really see the nuances of it. Based on what I got here, there's a couple options. I think one of the biggest things I need to do is I want to run this beast pack up and potentially just charge and tie down the Lich Guard right away. They're like OC1 on the Lich Guard, which means I just need to have a few models on that objective because Trays in the Infinite can sticky objectives. So I just want to make sure that I pin them back down. Another option is I move forward and try bypass these 2 Ctan and go for the Stormlord and just like try and kill him. And if I do, it stops the CP generation for the Necrons. But that's a bit of a longer charge. So because I only move 12 inches up. So we'll see if I feel like trying to do that. Another thing we have to do is when I cleanse, the objectives move and then you score, which means I'm probably gonna, I'm gonna see what I can do with that. We'll see when it happens, I guess. I think that's how that works. Anyway, other than that, I've got one target that I really have access to, which is that Transcendent, which means every gun I own is probably going to be shooting that Transcendent. If I kill one, great. I don't expect to kill one at range, but if I do, that would be a good thing for bring it down. Okay, and with that, movement phase. After the movement phase, I decided to, because of my secondaries, which is cleanse, and because I need to move these objectives forward and I don't want to overcommit to the Ctan, that's what the Beast Pack is doing. It's basically strung up to hold 2 objectives, and the way that it's placed, they can cleanse, then I can move the objectives up, they can continue to cleanse, and it forces the Ctan to come and deal with them, and sort of pins that flank there, or draws something out this way. The Court came out, and was able to get in range to get a couple of Dark Lances onto that Transcendent. I got all my Scourge. That's the one target I have. It's the only thing I can shoot, so I'm going to shoot at it. And then we got this Court, this little Cabalite squad with an Archon in the Venom. Who was back here, move up. They got out, and then the Kronos kind of advanced up to get everybody in Pain Token range. Lilith moved up this way. The Incubi have spread out here, ready to jump into the Venom if they need to. I'm continuing to screen out the board, but I'm trying to conserve my forces. This list is a little different. I don't have as much to throw away as my other list, which I feel would be a lot better into this matchup. But I do have like 400 points in planes. Yeah. So let's do some shooting and we'll come right back. End of the shooting and fight phase and basically the turn. So I was able to get out, shoot a lot of shooting. I only put 5 damage on that Ctan. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so from 12 down to 7, he is going to start healing, which is kind of annoying. But pretty much all my Dark Lances bounced off of this 4-up, which makes sense. And then the piddly stuff actually was the thing that did damage, which was kind of interesting. I did cleanse over here. So as we look at the scoreboard, I will get rid of Bring It Down to just get a CP, because I know that CP is going to be important. And it's going to hard. I don't want to have to kill Ctan for points. I get 5 points for cleanse as we move into your turn 1. So he gets 2 CP thanks to the Stormlord. He put blue crayon with hyperphase in the crypt, and I will get another CP as well. So going into that, 3 and 3, turn 1, 5 points for the Drukhari, and it's Necron's turn, number 1.
Okay, end of the movement phase. Really sweet and simple. Void Dragon ran up. Purple crayon ran up. Red crayon teleported. The Nightbringer had to come out into the open. I was hoping to keep him behind the building, but when you rotate your models, that counts as...
Not all models, only
Monsters.
Regular infantry and stuff don't count.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, technically in the rules it's every model, but they've done it to monsters and vehicles in
Yeah.
most FAQs.
So that's a thing. So he had
Even if they
come
have
out.
round bases.
Yeah, and then that's then the Lich Guard move it over there.
Nice.
That's it.
Okay. So your plan is to kill the beast pack
Mhm.
and then shove the objectives this way. And then you were able to use your Hyperphase 3-inch deep strike on him to get yourself deployed teleport homers, and it helps you with a mini engage.
Yes.
There you go. Not bad. You know, your plan is coming to fruition. I love it. And you'll see how good this Necron list is at scoring points, which is literally all it does. It just, unless you can stop it, it's just going to score all the points that it needs. And that's it. You know, nothing else. Shooting phase time.
Okay, so the blue Transcendent, the blue Crayon gave up its shooting so he could deploy teleport homers.
Mhm.
The purple Transcendent, combined with the Void Dragon, took out most of
Well,
the
actually,
beast
no.
pack.
The Void Dragon killed half the unit of Beast, and then that shot into this and did 2 damage.
That's right.
I did use a 4-up Bimbal, but it didn't actually come up. I passed my 5-ups with cover. That was it.
Yeah.
Is the out of range there? Nightbringer advance, so nothing there. You do want to try to a charge. This is an important, actually, this is an important charge right here. 9-inch charge to get into the beasts. If he doesn't make it, the beasts will push this objective closer to the Necron deployment zone again, which will actually help me out in the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Will the Void Dragon make it?
I'll change that die.
He doesn't want to have the dice that yell at me and are very rude.
They're
rude dice.
So rude.
So rude.
Care about you viewers at home.
That is correct. That
And that's what you get.
is a
when you care.
9. There he comes in. That's a very important charge. Well done, Void Dragon. End of the turn. The Void Dragon just murdered the beasts. I was really hoping, 9-inch charge. Sometimes you make them, sometimes you don't. And then all of the objectives got shoved in my direction, but there's no scoring on primary. That means that next turn I can basically hold all of them and shove them again and get at least 2 points for each, which is 8 points. But then you'll be able to do the same, and we'll go back and forth and back and forth. This is going to be a fun time. Okay, so with that, let's go to the scoreboard here. John will get 4 points for deployed teleport homers and a mini engage for 2, so he goes up to 6 points on primary. But that's why fixed is so important when you're playing Necrons, because you just score a bunch of points, especially when you just have Ctan everywhere. And then we move on to battle round number 2. I get a CP, you get a CP, and then no primary, because that happens at the end. I will be picking up both my Mandrake units.
Ooh.
And I'll be getting killing stuff on objectives, which just happens to be nothing, except for nothing, literally nothing. There's nothing on any objectives, and a tempting target. Well, that's actually really good for me to get.
Yeah, that one's really good.
That's not too shabby, which means that I will, I'll let that slide. Which one would you tempt me with, John?
We'll take this one.
So that one will be my tempting target. End of the movement phase. I've decided to test some things. That's one of the beautiful things about practice games is you get to do some, just test things. See if it works. If it doesn't work, you take it to the next game. I test things on the channel all the time. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So in this case, what I've decided to do is get aggressive on all the objectives to shove them forward. I'm trying to kill 1 Ctan. I'm trying to kill the support units. And I'm trying to either hurt another Ctan or potentially just try and start doing some damage to the Ctans. I'm also got a plan to move block the Nightbringer and stuff. So they come into strategic reserve to take that objective, so I'm going to shove it forward. They've just piled onto this objective to shove it forward. They moved up to this one to shove it. I'm actually going to move it around the building so that the Void Dragon has to either go backwards or come all the way around. And then over here, move this Venom that was empty up here to shove it forward. And then both planes came on here. They're in range. And because of true line of sight, because they do have the old towering rule, they can see all of that stuff back there. And they can see the Ctan. Not that they're good against Ctan, because they have low strength guns with the D sides, but they're very good against Lich Guard and equivalent style units. I did spend a command point to get out of the transport and charge, so the court is ready to basically get stuck in the back there. And you did overwatch the little unit of Cabalites here, but when I moved them up, however, you did not do any damage there. You did. You did not hit. I'm just committing. I think that's kind of what I'm going to do. The Necrons could potentially kill a lot of my stuff next turn, but you know what? That's fine. Let's see what happens. Wish me luck. I only have 1 pain token. Wish me luck. End of the shooting phase. Well, the Ctan lived with 1 wound. He did pass all of his feel no pains against the grenade, which was like the key to make that work. I was debating whether I should have put one Mandrake unit like right here to make sure that I could shoot him. But then I decided, you know what, no, it's fine, I'll kill him. And then I put him over here. Normally I keep Mandrakes in like a position to just try and pick off that last wound. Guess what? The Mandrake units put 2 wounds on that one, which totally would have worked over there. However, on another note, the MVPs of this turn, definitely my Void Raven Bombers. They shot up half the Lich Guard that then were finished off by the Court. And then the other bomber killed the Stormlord, which was really good. That allows this unit to charge into Trazyn the Infinite, which is actually going to be really good because I get a couple of pain tokens from that as well, which I really need to kind of fuel this. Now, because he survived, sadly, I'm going to have to charge him with the Archon and hope that I kill him. Let's see. Hopefully, I got a couple of pain tokens now, so it is a possibility. So with that, time to charge. I also used my Vect though, because you did use a reroll to try to keep your Ctan alive, and as soon as you use the reroll, in this matchup, the reroll is massive. So I'm like, devious mastermind from my Archon that's out of the Venom, so I can totally use that. Okay, so with that though, we're moving into the charge phase. End of the turn. Well, I did charge and kill that with just the Cabalites because of Lance. That actually helped a lot. Then I did kill Trazyn the Infinite, and I used the CP, my last CP, to move and get back into the Raider, basically. And then over here, all the attacks, we ended up doing 5 more damage to that Ctan, with basically the Witches and Lilith doing all the work. The Incubi did nothing. But in retrospect, they passed every invul, and the Ctan failed to hit a bunch and didn't really wound too much. So the Witches are fine. That's surprising. I did not expect that. So with that though, the Nightbringer also failed his like mortal woundy thing. And what I've done here is essentially the Nightbringer can't jump over me with his move, so he can't end back here without being within an inch of me. So it forces him to go around. I'm going to move the objectives, and then we'll go to the scoreboard. Well, oh well. That moved up, but I got it wholly within 6. That moved up. Can't get it wholly within 6. Both of those are wholly within 12. So I get 2, 2, 2. So that's 6 points and a 5. That's 11 points on primary as we move into that turn. So 11 points on primary there. Oh wait, that was my tempting target, right? Mm-hmm. I need to move that one a little different. Okay, so I actually moved it that way. So I hold it with my Raider, wholly within 12. So I'm just gonna get 8 points on primary, but it does mean that I do score my tempting target. So I will go up to 10 points, like so. Pop, pop. And I'll get tempting. And I am gonna get rid of overwhelming force again to bring me up to another command point. With that though, we will go up to the next. Are you picking anything up, by the way? I guess you can if you want. Mm-hmm. Well, we'll come back and we'll kind of explain how that goes. Okay, so John decided not to put anything in the hyperphase, which makes sense because he needs everything on the board to really kind of do damage. At the end of the day, though, we go to his turn number 2. I go up a CP. He goes up a CP. These are his secondaries, so he doesn't have a lot. But what's your plan, John, for everybody watching?
Well, so we are going to... I have to try and get into this table quarter here. Mm-hmm. Actually, yes, that's what I have to do. I have to try and get into that table quarter, but I do have to pressure this. So I believe I'm going to bring that destroyer onto here. Yep. Now, at this point, I'm kind of doubling up because I need to pressure this really hard. Yep. The Scourge need to die just because even though they're not doing, they're doing damage.
They could potentially just do a lot all of a sudden.
Well, it's not even the damage. The thing that worries me is they can go 14 inches through the walls with an advance, not carry
shoot, scoot, get points,
24 inches if I accidentally carelessly leave one over here, all of a sudden I've got Scourge. So they need to go away.
The Scourge must die.
Yeah, but other than that, we'll see how this goes.
I love it.
Exciting movement phase. Purple crayon warped over there. Dragon moved up here.
And then I reactive moved my Raider 6 inches this way, or well 5 in a little bit so I could clear this. But it was mainly because if he shoots that, then the Court can get out in a nice safe spot back here. It also means that if he does kill this, then he can't charge that to then get onto that objective, he has to potentially get onto this venom here. So it just gives me options, and it also threatens now that destroyer back there in the home objective in case I get like capture enemy outpost or anything like that. He's staying in combat. He healed 1, and then Nightbringer just moved up as well. And Deceiver has decided to come out and play too. He's OC 6, which is like the highest OC of the Ctan, and it's jarring because the others are like what, 4?
They're all 4.
Yeah, and he's 6. It's actually wild how good that is at taking objectives. Okay, so with that, shooting phase, John?
Shooting phase. Okay, cool. Shooting didn't do anything.
It was actually kind of wild. First of all, we had to go over the cover rules because John's like, really? Aircraft get cover? Yes. Even if they're like blocked by stuff and like ruins, they do get cover. Even if like the wingtip was blocked, they literally follow the same cover rules as anything else on the board, which is kind of silly because they're aircraft. This guy shot and killed 0 witches. That was not good. The Deceiver killed 3 little guys, and then Nightbringer failed to wound my Kronos.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we go to charges, but apparently the Ctan, and that he's pressing buttons.
Yeah.
For anybody who wasn't there at orientation. End of the fight phase.
Okie dokie. The blue crayon failed to do anything again.
Well, he killed 2 witches. And then I spent a CP to Wraith-like retreat, and they got back in their venom with Lilith because they want to just go hide. I'm going to be picking up my mandrakes once again. So they're going to do that. The Void Dragon did fail this charge here, and you did fail a charge with the Deceiver, and then had to use the 2 CP because I did mastermind the reroll to get into that combat. And then you rolled a lot of 1s to wound. And 1 Cabalite survived with the Archon, which didn't do any damage back. And of course, Nightbringer just literally picked up the Scourge. So let's move some objectives around. That one is not held. That one's not held, so they stay. These 2 get moved, and that will be some points. We'll come back to the scoreboard. So they've moved up. That one is now wholly within 6. That's 5 points. That one's within 12, wholly within 12. So that is 2 points. So with that, we go over here. That's going to be 7 points on primary for John. So keeping it really close, which I really like. However, you did get your teleport homer again for 4. And is the Nightbringer too close to the center? No, he's right at the right spot. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you get a big engage this time, which is an 8 points on secondaries, bringing you up to 14 on secondaries. So you're already starting to eke ahead because of the fixed points over there, which is what this list does. That's literally what it does. However, because of that turn, I have a good opportunity to kind of swing the game in my favor, especially since I have these 2 objectives ready to really kind of start getting points with. And killing that model there forces John to now use basically 1 Ctan in every table corner to get his engage, which limits where he can send them and do things with. So with that, though, let's dive into my turn number 3. We each get a command point. And cards are going to be Area Denial and Investigate Signals. Good thing I made my mandrakes go into the sky. Did you know planes can do it too? That's right. End of the movement phase, or almost end of the movement phase. Ha-ha! Sherlock,
no.
Actually, a clue, Sherlock, a clue. Actually, I'm going to move this guy. Nah, it's fine. He's just going to go here. I need to be able to shoot this Nightbringer. So I did put 3 damage on him with a bomb, which is great. He failed the Feel No Pains. And then you did Overwatch my court and did 7 wounds out of 9 hits. That was very good. Like, really put a hurting on the court, which kind of made me very sad. However, I did put enough OC on these objectives to shove them forward for one more, shove them backwards again for 1 more turn, which, it keeps them kind of busy on this side of the table. And then I did get Investigate Signals. So 1, these came out of reserve. Those mandrakes went over there. Those mandrakes went over there. And this venom came over here. That's an 8-point Investigate Signals. That's a very good Investigate Signals. But with that, we've got a couple of pain tokens. So let's use them. Let's shoot. I guess I'm going to try to take down the Void Dragon because he's the most wounded of the Ctan except for here, which I brought Lilith out to try and deal with. Yeah, let's see what we can do. End of the shooting phase. Ooh, I did put a lot of shooting. I did kill the little destroyer though, so that was good. I got a pain token for that. And then I took only put 6 more damage on the Void Dragon because he 3 more damage because he passed so many invulnerable saves. It was quite substantial there. Or Feel No Pains. He actually was like, nope, I'm good. Okay, so with that, I'm going to do some charges. We're going to charge Lilith into the into this little guy right here. Then we're going to charge the court into there. And they're just going to try and do as much damage as they humanly can as well. I like it. And there we go. We're at the end of the fight phase. I was able to do another 3 damage with like my little minimal court into the Void Dragon. So he has 3 wounds remaining. Over here, though, I was able to kill that Transcendent, which is very good for me. And then Lilith was able to just pop back in. Lilith, just a boss. She's been doing so much work, even like Lance on her attacks is like really, really good. Luckily, the Nightbringer's aura did not go off again, which means I'm able to take both of these objectives and shove them forward, which is a very big deal. But with that, let's go. I'm going to move some objectives, and I get area denial. I get a big investigate signals, and we'll go to the scoreboard. So you decide to pick up the Nightbringer because you need him. You need to move him around. He's a small base. You can really kind of get him somewhere where you need him to be. I was able to move that objective to wholly within 6 inches, and then that objective and that objective to wholly within 12. So I will get a 14-point primary and 10. Oh, not 10. That is, wow, that's a 13-point secondary. Oh, that was a big turn. So I go up to 23 secondary points here with a massive investigate signals and a 14-point turn here, which brings me up to 22 in primary, really skyrocketing up there. Okay, so with that, it is turn number 3 for the Necrons. We each get a CP, and we move on as we move on. Movement phase. What do you do?
I moved 2 models.
Yep.
I moved the Deceiver
backwards so that he's away from 3 inches so that you get your engage.
And the
Nightbringer. Use the Hyper Crypt, come within 3 inches to just basically nuke that venom and then do mortal wounds to the stuff that's around, essentially. So he's just trying to maximize on the points that he has. The Void Dragon stayed in combat with the Archon, who has 2 wounds remaining, but his Shadow Field is still intact. And then over here, we've got a variety of things happening with the Deceiver. Okay, so with that, it's like now it's just, that's the thing about playing against Necrons. For anybody watching, if you end up playing against an army like this, like yes, the John's rolls haven't been the best and stuff like that, but my Dark Lances haven't also been the best either. But then I killed all the chaff, which is the stuff that John really needs to score. I killed all his little units that were hiding in the back, and now he has to use all the Ctan to try and do points and score primary and all the secondaries. So it starts getting a little harder later in the game if you start killing the models that they use for that stuff. However, the Void Dragon can now even heal even more in the shooting phase. So you could go up to 9 wounds again. Oh my goodness gracious. I had 1 chance to kill him, and he's, should have just shot something else. Okay, so with that, shooting phase time. Okay, end of the turn. Voltaic, the dragon did kill the Archon in combat, because I failed a Shadow Field save, but I did pass a few, so it was like, he could have lived. You pile into the Raider. Nightbringer failed to shoot that to death, and then failed to do any mortal wounds. So he's sitting there, but he did get an engage. He pressed the buttons, and he moved back to get engaged, and then pushed that forward and killed a couple of Cablites with some shooting. I moved my Archon and 1 Cablite back into that Venom. I did lose 4 wounds on that Void Raven Bomber over the course of the game. So what I did here in the turn is you move that objective forward to get 2 points. That one stays because no one holds it. I move this one laterally to keep these 2 objectives in no man's land, just in case I need to move around. And then that one I did shove into the deployment zone. So with that, let's go to the scoreboard. So you've got engaged on fronts for 2, deploy teleport homers for 4. It's another 6 points, bringing you up to 20 points. That 1 Ctan just giving you a bunch of points every turn, which is what he's for. And then you get 2 points here. So it's really the primary game that's where I'm doing the most work here. As we move on to turn number 4, I get 2 more cards. Capture enemy outposts and no prisoners. So if I kill stuff, if not, I'll just put a CP on the bank. But having no prisoners is not a bad thing to have right about now. Overwatch the 2 witches dead after they moved up to try and charge the Void Dragon, just to try hold him in combat. But now it's going to be unlikely. The Incubi moved into this Venom and hid. I did fall back with that Raider to take that objective and get capture enemy outpost. I've stickied that objective, stickied this objective. These Cablites moved up. Oh, I still need to move my Mandrakes. They're going to move up in a second as well. And then the witches kind of stayed still, nothing too crazy. And I'm basically just kind of maximizing my my primary score, trying to score as many secondaries as I can, and just making sure that I get far ahead enough that then the Necrons can't come back. Shooting phase. I took the Deceiver down to 5 wounds. He has stealth. So a lot, like the grenades did some work. These guys did nothing, even though I gave them my only pain token. How dare they? Now I'm going to charge in. Let's see what we can do here. I'm going to charge Lilith into Void Dragon. Why not? And then we're going to charge... actually, you know what? I'll probably do a Venom, and then I'm going to charge everything else in as well. Yeah, that'll be exciting. End of the fight phase. I got the Nightbringer down, the Deceiver down to 2 wounds. So close at getting him. And then, of course, I didn't do any damage, and then Lilith just died. I should have just kept... That's fine, whatever. I was hoping she might survive and then hold you up there for another turn. However, in terms of objectives, I do hold this one out because the Mandrakes ran up. That one has been sticky. That one has been stickied. And that one now holds. So I'm just going to shove the objectives at you again, Mr. Ctan, and then we'll come back to the scoreboard. Okay, for scoring, 8, 8, 2, and 5 for 23 on the primary, which brings me up to 45 points. It's a very, very, very crazy strong for turn number 4 there. I will not get any no prisoners, so I'm going to ditch it for a command point. However, the capture enemy outpost for 8 brings me up to 31, which keeps me in very good secondary scoring range. The fact that I've done 2 of the 8 pointers for 8 points is very, very good. So with that, we go on to the next turn. It is turn 4. John gets a CP. I get a CP. And we got the Deceiver to take a Battle Shock test because he's at 2 wounds remaining. But other than that, he's probably going to go up to full, and then we'll see what John does.
I'm licked at this point. There's no way for me to win, just for the fact that there were 4 objectives in the middle. They're moving too far forward, so now I'm playing catch up. In order to mitigate the amount of points that I've got to soften the blow by, the Deceiver has to kick the objective here. So we've got him there. I've given up the attacks to do that.
Yep.
The Void Dragon's over here. We're going to try and punk the barge and shoot everything else to sort of soften this.
Yep.
Because I need, if I can get the Deceiver to survive, then I will score another 12 for primary,
yep.
or sorry, secondary. It'll put me at 32. Mm-hmm. And there is a non-zero chance that I end up scoring another maybe 5 points for primary.
Yep.
8 if I'm lucky. So it all comes down to softening the blow so that the Deceiver can hopefully survive with a wound left. And that's that.
You're going to press buttons over there?
Press buttons over there, and he's going to come and evaporate some Scourge.
End of the turn. You killed that Raider. You put a couple of... You almost killed that Void Raven. 5 wounds remaining. You almost killed the Scourge. 1 left. You have to advance to get around this building, so you just zap them there. Over here, you did get the Deceiver to move this, but it's now wholly within 6. So you get 5 points on primary. However, I did, because you can move them in your opponents and your opponents if you hold them, right, in your turn and your opponents, I shoved that objective more in the corner. The objective that I had moved into your deployment zone, I moved out of your deployment zone so that I can then, if I get something like secure no man's land or something like that, I have, a couple of objectives in no man's land to score. But let's go to the scoreboard. And that is end of turn 4. So you do get a 4, and you also get a large. So large one? Yeah, large one this time. So that is another 8 points there, bringing up to 28. Very nicely done there, John. And you do get a 5 there, coming up to 14 points on the primary. But that's really where I've been able to make my work done. So as we move on to turn number 5, you getting a CP, me getting a CP. Let's see what the cards bring. So in the cards, my Mandrakes will be going into the sky. Again, might as well. And we've got Secure No Man's Land. Told you. And then, and we will go for Defend My Stronghold, which is why I'm just going to use, it's the last turn, so I'm going to cycle through it with a command point. And because there's a Ctan on there, and I will get Storm Hostile Objective, which is take one of the objectives you control, which is my home objective, which actually works out quite nicely. end of it, secure no man's land, I can get with just those 2 objectives. I do only need 5 more points to maximize primary, which will be that objective there. And the biggest thing will be capture enemy outpost. No, storm hostile objective, which I'm going to try and do over here as well. Another cool thing is this is a great opportunity for you to see how planes work, because this plane cannot move 20 inches without going off the board and being outside of an inch of him, I don't think, because of the size of the plane and the building itself, which means the plane has to fly off the table. And that's that. The plane just leaves. Done. Bye-bye. I finally killed the Deceiver. It did take pretty much my whole army for their shooting. Hooray. Okay, so with that though, that stays back there. This gets basically pushed into that there. This gets pushed into there, over there, just to add insult to injury, and this gets pushed back this way to make sure that it keeps on pushing that way. I did take an objective away from John because they're 2 OC each, and they got a good run, an advance roll, so we got them onto the objective. So at the end of the turn here, I will get another point, 5 points and 5 points for 40. So that maxes out my secondaries, and that will max out my primaries with a bazillion points on servo skulls. And at the end of the game, John will be able to, you got 4 OC, 1, 2, so 4. You could kill something there. Okay, so at the end of my turn, John picked up the Nightbringer, then brought him down with a command point within 3 of the outer objective, shot that Venom and killed the Venom, which allowed him to move this objective back here to get another, that's another 2 points on that one, because it was just 6 and 6 and 6 and 6. Okay, and that press buttons for another 4. So let's go to the final score. At the end of turn number 5, another 2 points on primary, and you will get another 4 points there, another 2 points there. So that's another 6 points, so 34 points. It just shows you how powerful fixed objectives are. It was really just the primary mission, which I cannot wait to break down in a post-action report. But that is a Drukhari victory as we move on to the end show. Hello, John.
Hi, Skari.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you learned some stuff.
It's been a long time. You got to use your big brains.
Got to use the brains. That's usually how I use my brains, I think.
I didn't.
You did. Crayons up nose. So I hope you found anything useful. So for you, going back, it seems like you want to go back to the drawing board with your list.
So I took this list pre points changes to the Canhammer Team Tournament in Ottawa.
Yeah, where we podiumed.
Yeah, we did, number 3.
Yeah, baby.
And losing the points increase, going from a 70-point model to a 120-point model by Cryptek with Deep Strike, definitely changes everything about that list. You lose so many tools. So Trazyn, definitely great when he can bounce around the board. Trazyn, when he has to sit in your backfield and get shot by planes, try planes. They're really dumb. They nerfed towering and forgot about planes.
Yes.
So yeah, cheeky.
Yeah, no, planes. Who knew? Actually, my other list would probably do better into your list without the planes. But the planes actually do great going to murder all the stuff behind the walls. So it works great for that.
Yeah.
In this mission especially, because then the Ctan had to get stuck in and bounce around. And by the time you ran out, I killed 2 Transcendents. And you're like, oh, well now I don't have enough tools.
Yep. That's it.
That's the double-edged sword of lists like that, where they stat check you, but if you can deal with them, they kind of, but you still scored a bunch of points. You scored 40, 50, 60 points.
The 2 things is if I go first, it's better. If it's not the extra objectives,
the hidden supplies,
it's better.
You picked this mission, John.
Guy comes into the room.
Randomly picked. And he picked the Servo Skull mission.
I love servo skulls. If you are one of those people that is against trying servo skulls, try it. It's a lot of fun.
It is fun. Frustrating.
If your friends are playing MSU,
fun. Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, John. Make sure you check out John the Cron on Instagram and on Twitch, and make sure you check out the Tabletop Forge, That's here in Barrie, Ontario. Now, of course, I'm looking to play people on Monday during work hours here in Barrie, Ontario. So if you want to play me, send me a message and we'll set up a filming session. I've been streaming these bat reps on Twitch as well when I film them. So if you like that, head on over to the Twitch page. But this would not be possible without the Patreons, the Denizen communities, the reason I have a studio and the reason I get to do content. So thank you so much. If you'd like to support the channel on Patreon, the link is in the description below. Also, a huge shout out to Red Dragon. Thanks for sponsoring the video. And make sure you check out that link too. Other than that, I've been Skari. This has been John the Cron. Signing off until next time. Ah, the dark kin. I eat crayons for breakfast. Yeah. Bye, everyone.